My name is Logan, and I always thought that if my marriage ended, it would happen slowly. Maybe we'd drift apart or life would pull us in different directions. But nothing could have prepared me for how it all came crashing down in a single night. It all began with an argument. Not our first, not even the worst, but there was something different about this one. My wife, Zoe, and I had been off for a while. The conversations had lost their spark, and the tension between us was unbearable, something we couldn't seem to fix. That night, it finally exploded over something trivial. I can't even remember what triggered it, but before I knew it, we were shouting, accusing each other, and reopening old wounds. "I need space," Zoe said, grabbing her purse with shaky hands. "Zoe, wait, please just—" "No, Logan. I need to clear my head," she snapped, and the door slammed behind her. I sat there in the silence, staring at the empty spot on the couch where she'd been sitting, wondering how we got here. When did we become the kind of people who needed space from each other? Hours passed. I texted her. No reply. Called. Straight to voicemail. Midnight came and went, and I felt a mix of worry and anger gnawing at me. By 3:14 a.m., the front door banged open. I turned just in time to see Zoe stumble inside, disheveled, hair a tangled mess, makeup smeared, and the faint stench of alcohol and something else I didn't want to identify hanging in the air. She tripped over her own feet, laughing to herself before locking eyes with me. "You're still up," she slurred. My stomach twisted at the sight. Where had she been? I stood frozen as she staggered toward the couch. "Where have you been?" I demanded, my voice low but sharp. Zoe just waved a hand, brushing off my concern. "What's it matter?" I watched her, my heart sinking. The woman I once trusted, barely able to stand, reeked of someone else's touch. She was a mess, and I could tell this wasn't just about drinking. There was more to it. "Did you sleep with someone?" The question escaped my lips before I could stop it. She blinked, as though the words took too long to sink in. Then she scoffed. "You always think the worst of me. Just answer the question, Zoe. Did you?" My voice grew harsher. She didn't answer. Didn't even try to deny it. Instead, she collapsed onto the couch, mumbling something about needing sleep. I turned and walked away, the urge to confront her surging, but I knew it would only make things worse. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, I couldn't shake the feeling in the pit of my stomach. Something was off. I got up, grabbed her purse, and took her phone. She never used a passcode, probably never thought she needed to. The texts hit me like a gut punch. "Had an amazing time tonight with you, Zoe. You're incredible. Can't wait to see you again. You were amazing. Best decision I made in a long time. Hope you made it home okay." And then the pictures. Zoe, grinning drunkenly, pressed against a guy I'd never seen before. His hand on her thigh, her lips on his neck. My hands shook as I saved the texts to my phone and printed the pictures. I sat in the dark, staring at the proof of her betrayal, waiting for morning to come. When she woke up, groggy and hungover, she moaned. "Ugh, my head." I threw her phone on the couch and dropped the printed pictures in front of her. "You should be more worried about your marriage," I said, my voice cold. Zoe blinked down at the photos. The confusion quickly shifted to horror. "Logan." It was. I folded my arms, cutting her off. "Go ahead, explain." She scrambled upright, pushing her messy hair out of her face. "It was a mistake." "No," I snapped. "A mistake is forgetting to lock the door. This was a choice." I pointed at her phone. You called it the best decision you ever made. That means it was a choice. Her eyes welled up with tears. I was drunk, I wasn't thinking. Drunk enough to send texts, take pictures, sneak back and hoping I'd be asleep. I didn't mean. Her voice trembled, but I couldn't listen anymore. You didn't mean to get caught, I finished for her. I sobbed. It didn't mean anything, Logan. I shook my head, feeling the weight of her betrayal crush me. It meant everything to me. And you threw it away the second you decided to act like you were single. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Please. Just give me another chance. I stared at her, the woman I once loved, but now all I felt was an empty coldness. I picked up the divorce papers I'd already printed that morning, setting them down in front of her. We're done, I said quietly. Her sobs echoed through the house, but I didn't look back as I walked out the door months later. Zoe's text came through. It read, "Hi Logan. I know I messed up, but I can't stop thinking about you." I didn't respond. It had been months, but the weight of that night still haunted me. I thought I could move on, but I found myself sitting across from strangers, wishing for something real, something that meant more than just a fleeting moment. No one ever looked at me the way Zoe once had. I replayed that night in my mind, wishing I could undo the anger, the reckless decisions that led to the end. But the truth was, it wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. And now I had to live with it. Zoe never knew the depth of what she'd destroyed. I didn't need her to understand. The damage was done. I'd learned my lesson. When someone shows you who they truly are, believe them and never look back.